Good afternoon, grade 12 tourism learners, and welcome to today's session. We are just going to give 2 more minutes to just make sure that everybody who wants to join the session are with us and are ready to join in with the session. So if you can just give us 2 more minutes, then we will start with the online class. Okay, it seems like everybody is part of our session who wanted to join. So once again, welcome grade 12 tourism learners, and thank you for joining us for today's online class. Today we're going to look at the foreign market share. So please just bear with us today. This is once again going to be a dual session, which means that it's going to be presented in English and Afrikaans. So goeiemiddag en baie welkom graad 12 toerisme leerders en welkom by vandag se sessie. Ons gaan vandag kyk na ons buitelandse markandeel. En dan as julle net weer eens met ons geduldig sal wees, hierdie sessie gaan in Afrikaans en Engels aangebied word. Met ander woorde 'n dual sessie. Goed. Just to introduce myself, my name is Serena Jordan and I am the educational specialist for the services subject in social sciences and then more specifically for tourism. So let's just quickly cover some basics. Those of you who are already familiar with this, please just bear with us. And if there's any new attendees, if you can just quickly run with me through these basic steps. So if you are not able to hear me, please just make sure that your speaker volume is turned up and that it's loud so that you can follow us as we go along. You will automatically be muted when joining this session. And then should you have any question, you can ask your questions in the question box. You will see you have on your dashboard a tab that says question box. So you can put all your questions for us in there. Then there's also a raise your hand icon, which will be on your dashboard either below or on the right. So if you can hear me and if you can see me and if you can follow the presentation, will you just quickly click for me on the raise your hand button so that I can see that everybody is ready for this session. Okay, perfect. Okay, 100%. Okay. So then the presentation will be in the handout box. You will see that there's an Afrikaans and English version that you can download. You can also find all this information in the question box, which is below on the right. Please, attendees, we encourage you to ask questions. We encourage you to leave comments. However, irrelevant or inappropriate comments will result in an attendee being dismissed from this session. If we did not get your answer during this session, please send us an email to academics@impact.co.za. Questions in the question box will be answered and made available afterwards. If we did not receive, or if you did not receive these questions and answers, please send us an email to info@impact.co.za and then they will make sure that you get those answers. Then the recordings, not only of this session, but also of previous subjects or previous sessions. You can go onto our Impact website and then you can follow this link as we've put here in the presentation for you. You can click on the COVID-19 online schooling tab and then on the previous classes tab. And then you can just filter per grade and per subject to go and search for previous online classes. So net vir die Afrikaanse leerders, baie welkom. My naam is Serena Jordan en ek is die vakspesialis vir die dienste vakke en sosiale wetenskappe en dan meer spesifiek vir toerisme. As jy my nie kan hoor nie, maak seker dat jou klank mooi hard en opgestel is. As jy deel vorm van die sessie, word jy dadelik gemute. Dis maar net om al die agtergrond klanke stil te maak, sodat almal mooi kan hoor wat in die sessie aangaan. Jy sal dan sien op die regterkant of onder op jou dashboard, sal jy sien daar is 'n raise your hand ikoon, so jy kan hom oplig as ek dalk vir julle gedurende die sessie ietsie vra, kan jy julle hand daar oplig. Dan sê julle, ek sien daar's 'n Engelse en Afrikaanse weergawe in die handout box. So met ander woorde hierdie aanbieding wat ek vandag gaan doen, kan julle daar gaan aflaai. Asseblief vra, lewer kommentaar, maar as dit irrelevant of on from pas is, gaan dit beteken dat ons jou gaan ontslaan van die sessie. Dan as ons nie by enige van jou vrae uitgekom het nie en jy het nog 'n vraag wat jy wil vra, kan jy asseblief vir ons 'n e-pos stuur na academics@info.co.za. @impact.co.za. En dan vra wat in die vraeboks gelos word, sal ons antwoord na die sessie. As jy nie die vrae en antwoorde gekry het nie, stuur asseblief 'n e-pos aan info@impact.co.za en hulle sal seker maak dat jy die inligting kry. Dan kan jy ook hierdie opname van hierdie spesifieke sessie gaan kry op ons webblad. So ook kan jy gaan sorteer vir vorige sessies of van vorige vakke. Jy kan na ons Impact webblad toe gaan. Daar sê ons wil jy die skakel gegee in die aanbieding van vandag. Dan gaan klik jy net op die COVID-19 online schooling tab en dan op die previous classes tab en dan kan jy gaan filter per graad per vak as jy dan van die vorige opnames wil sien. Okay, grade 12s, let's jump in for today's online class. Quickly, just once again, an overview of term 3. So last week we've discussed the forms of payments when traveling internationally. I hope you've gone through this once again in your textbook to make sure that you understand which form of payment which matches which travel scenario, but please, you can also go on to previous papers to see how they've asked or how they've interpreted these questions. But for today, we're going to look at the foreign market share and then more specifically the statistics regarding international tourism and why it is important for us to have these statistics of the inbound international tourism. So graad 12 laasweek, hier is net weer eens 'n oorsig oor kwartaal 3 se werk. Laasweek het ons gekyk na die forme van betaling as ons internasionaal reis. Ek hoop julle het weer deur julle handboeke gegaan sodat julle kan sien watter betaling pas by watter tipe scenario, maar gaan kyk ook in ou vraestelle hoe hulle hierdie tipe vrae geïnterpreteer het of hoe hulle die vraag gevra het. Vandag gaan ons kyk na die buitelandse markaandeel, spesifiek na statistieke rondom die inkomende internasionale toeriste in ons land in. Goed. So first of all, we have to look at the interpretation of statistics. So we gather all of these statistics, we get all of this, but what does this mean for us, or how do we interpret these statistics? Okay, so first of all, just to cover some basics, incoming tourists are those tourists who enter the country for specific reasons. So incoming or inbound tourists are those tourists that's coming into our country, who wants to visit our country for whatever reason they want to come and visit us. Statistics. So first of all, we must understand what statistics is. This refers to data or information that is collected, in the case specifically referring to information about tourists coming to South Africa. So today we're going to look at statistics specifically with regards to tourists that visit South Africa. So we must understand and know what type of data or information that we are collecting. Then we're going to look at two bodies. The first body that we're going to look at is the Department of Foreign Affairs. So they are very much involved with regards to these statistics, with these numbers, working with the Department of Tourism as well. So they collect this information at all the entry and exit points in South Africa, and is a source of comprehensive information on arrival and departures of tourists. So it's also very important for them to know these statistics. The other body that we're going to look at is Stats SA, or Statistics South Africa. They then access this information, study it, and compile a report on their findings. Okay, so these two bodies work together to analyze and to interpret statistics with regards to tourists that visit South Africa. Okay. This is usually done on a monthly or a yearly basis, depending on when and where they need these statistics. And then data collected can be made available in the form of graphs, either in a pie, a chart, a line graph, or bar graphs, and tables. Okay, so also please note that you may or you can expect a question with regards to the interpretation of statistics. And then they can give it in any which form in a test or an examination to you. So they can give it either to you in either of these graphs or in a table, but we will go in depth into these statistics further in the presentation. So graad 12, eerstens gaan ons kyk na die interpretasie van statistieke. So ons het statistieke nodig om sekere goed te bepaal. So kom ons kyk net eers na 'n paar basiese goeders. Eerstens moet ons vir onsself afvra, wat is 'n inkomende toerist? 'n Inkomende toerist is enige toerist wat 'n land binnekom om vir 'n sekere rede die land te besoek. Goed. Ons kry dan statistieke of ons versamel dan sekere statistieke vir hierdie spesifieke rede. So as ons kyk na statistieke, dan moet jy jouself afvra eerstens, wat is statistieke? So statistieke is data of inligting wat saamgestel word of wat dan verkry word van sekere afdelings af. En in hierdie geval gaan ons spesifiek kyk na inligting rondom toeriste wat na Suid-Afrika toe kom. Daar's twee liggame wat saamwerk om hierdie statistieke dan nou te verkry en te verwerk en om dan nou sin daaruit te maak. Die eerste een is die Departement van Buitelandse Sake, wat dan ook baie nou saamwerk met die Departement van Toerisme, want natuurlik moet hulle kan bepaal hoe en wat se behoefte ons toeriste het. So die Departement van Buitelandse Sake versamel dan hierdie inligting by al die inkomende en uitgaande punte in Suid-Afrika. En dit is dan ook 'n bron van baie belangrike inligting ook oor die arrivering en vertrek van toeriste. Die volgende liggaam wat vir ons baie belangrik is Stats SA of Statistiek Suid-Afrika. Hulle vat dan al hierdie inligting wat verkry of versamel is en dan studeer hulle dit en dan verwerk hulle dit in 'n verslag wat dan hulle bevindinge dan nou weer teruggee aan die Departement van Buitelandse Sake en dan gebruik die departement dit om dan nou weer sekere dinge te analiseer. Goed, so hierdie rapportering van Stats SA kan dan of maandeliks of op 'n jaarlikse basis plaasvind en hulle kan hierdie inligting dan nou weergee in die vorm van grafieke wat dan soos jou pie grafiek, jou chart grafiek, jou lyn grafiek of jou bar grafiek kan wees. Of hulle kan dit in 'n tabelformaat gee. So wees bewus hiervan, jy kan dit verwag in 'n toets of eksamen. Dat hulle dan nou met ander woorde vir jou sekere inligting gee wat jy dan moet interpreteer en dan sekere goeders of sekere inligting weergee, maar ons sal nou later in die aanbieding meer spesifiek daarna kyk. Goed. So grade 12 tourism learners, I've just highlighted these two bodies for you and how their specific logos look like. So if you look at the Department of Foreign Affairs, this is how their logo looks like. So if you get into contact with them, and then also Stats SA, this is how their logo looks like. So graad 12, ek het nou maar net vir julle die logos gegee van die twee verskillende liggame waarvan ons net gepraat het in die vorige skyfie. Die Departement van Buitelandse Sake, aan die linkerkant is hoe hulle logo lyk en aan die regterkant is Stats SA of Statistiek Suid-Afrika en dit is hoe hulle logo lyk, sodat as jy dit sou raakloop in 'n toets of 'n eksamen. Okay, so why do we need this information and what do we do with it? Okay, so this information is used to estimate, to monitor, and to understand dominant characteristics of SA tourists. Because if we don't estimate it or if we don't monitor it, we won't understand what tourists want from our country or why did they come and see our country. Because if we know all of this information, or if we know these characteristics, we can focus on these characteristics and even improve and make it better so that they want to return to our country. So that is why these statistics are very important to us. This information is then used to determine the number of tourists visiting South Africa and some of their features. Information can be used as a reference point to conduct survey focusing on a demand or for local tourism services by foreign tourists. So they can then go to the local tourism services and tell them where to improve or what to make better or what to bring in order for foreign tourists to visit our country or specific areas once again. The South African government uses this information to estimate the tourism industry, the industry's value, and then also the contribution to the GDP. So ons het nou al hierdie inligting, maar wat moet ons daarmee doen? Goed, so eerstens bepaal hierdie inligting of wys hierdie inligting vir ons 'n vooruitskatting, ons monitor dit en ons verstaan wat die hoofeienskappe is van toeriste wat Suid-Afrika besoek. So dis baie belangrik om dit te weet, want as ons nie weet hoekom of waarom of hoe hulle reis nie, kan ons nie weet waarom te verbeter of wat om anders te doen om toeriste na ons land toe te bring nie. Hierdie inligting word dan ook bepaal deur 'n nommer of 'n hoeveelheid van toeriste wat Suid-Afrika dan besoek en dan sekere van hulle eienskappe. Hierdie inligting is dan ook 'n beginpunt wat dan kan gebruik word om spesifieke vrae op te stel of spesifieke uitdeelstukke uit te gee sodat ons kan bepaal wat ons dan by plaaslike toerisme dienste kan verbeter of kan verander om dan uiteindelik meer buitelandse toeriste te lok. Die Suid-Afrikaanse regering gebruik dan ook hierdie inligting om dan te bepaal wat die waarde is wat toeriste byvoeg tot ons land en wat die bydrae is uiteindelik tot die BBP van die land. So soos julle kan sien, daar's baie inligting wat ons uit hierdie statistieke kan uitkry. So now we're going to look at the guidance that this information provides to specific groups. So if we look at the government, if the tourism industry make a significant contribution to the GDP, the government will invest more money in promotion and development of this industry. So if the government sees that the tourism industry makes a real effort in making or growing the GDP, then obviously they are going to regard this as an important industry. SA Tourism, who is the body or the organization that promotes South Africa as a tourist destination, will then know where the target markets are, so they would know which market or which people tend to visit South Africa more, and then they will develop strategies to increase the tourism arrivals in South Africa. The private sector, the role players can develop, maintain and upgrade tourism services and products to meet the needs of our foreign tourists. So the private sector can make sure that they increase and make sure that everything that they are involved with regards to tourism are in top shape so that our foreign tourists will still visit our country. Tourism stakeholders, whether they are private or public stakeholders, can then ensure that they provide products and services to meet the needs of our foreign tourists. Okay, so hierdie inligting of hierdie statistieke gee dan ook leiding aan sekere groeperinge in ons land. Eerstens as ons kyk na die regering, as die regering sien dat die toerisme regtig 'n groot bydrae maak tot die algemene BBP van ons land, sal die regering dan nou meer investeer aan die toerisme-industrie en dan ook seker maak dat daar aan die bemarking gewerk word om die industrie dan nou verder te ontwikkel en te bemark. SA Toerisme, wat dan 'n organisasie is wat Suid-Afrika as 'n bestemming adverteer of bemark, sal dan nou uiteindelik weet wat is hulle teikenmark en dan sal hulle strategieë ontwikkel om dan nou spesifiek te fokus op hierdie toeriste wat dan nou na Suid-Afrika toe kom. As ons kyk na die privaat sektor, hierdie rolspelers ontwikkel, behou en opgradeer sekere toeriste dienste en produkte wat dan die behoeftes van ons buitelandse toeriste ontmoet of wat dit dan nou verbeter, en dit sal dan nou ook verseker dat ons toerisme sektor dan nou ook verbeter. Die toeriste stakeholders of die mense wat dan nou belangstel in toerisme, of hulle nou privaat of publiek is, kan dan nou ook verseker dat die produk en diens wat in die toerisme-industrie gelewer moet word, die behoeftes bereik of bepaal van die buitelandse toerist. Then we're just quickly going to look at some terminology that with regards to our foreign market share. First of all, what is foreign market share? That is the percentage of foreign tourists that South Africa receives compared to the rest of the world. So it's the percentage that we receive in terms of the rest of the world. Capital expenditure. What is capital expenditure? This is funds that a company spends on either buying or upgrading a physical assets, such as property, industrial buildings, or even equipment. The type of investment that the companies make is to maintain or to increase their business and profits. And this spending can include anything from roof repairs to brand new hotels. Then the size is then usually the number of people traveling per year. That's also important to determine that. And then growth is the percentage growth of arrivals from one year to the next, either if it's positive or a negative growth. Okay, so eerstens moet ons net eers kyk na 'n paar terminologie as dit kom by statistieke en by ons buitelandse markandeel. So wat is buitelandse markandeel? Dit is die persentasie van buitelandse toeriste wat Suid-Afrika ontvang in vergelyking met die res van die wêreld. Dan wat is kapitaalbesteding? Kapitaalbesteding is die fondse wat 'n maatskappy spandeer om of te koop of om iets te op te gradeer, soos 'n fisiese bate wat jy het, met ander woorde eiendom of 'n industriële gebou of selfs toerusting wat daar mag wees, om dan met ander woorde die toerisme-industrie te bevorder. Dit kan ook 'n tipe investment wees wat companies wat maatskappye maak om iets te behou of te behoue te bly of te verbeter in terme van besigheid en wins. Dit is ook enige iets waarop iets spandeer word. Met ander woorde, al moet hulle 'n dak regmaak of al moet hulle 'n nuwe hotel bou. Al hierdie faktore sluit in dan jou kapitaalbesteding. Goed, as ons kyk na grootte, dan is dit die hoeveelheid mense wat jaarliks reis, en dan groei is die persentasie groei van aankomste in ons land jaar na jaar. Dit kan dan of positief of negatiewe groei wees. Just some more terminology. If we look at direct spending, it's the amount of money that tourists spend on tourism products and services. So anything to do with tourism products and services. Daily spending is the estimate average spending by tourists on a daily basis. And then the average stay is the number of nights a tourist stay on average in a country. Goed, so direkte besteding is die hoeveelheid geld wat toeriste direk spandeer op enige toeriste verwante produk of diens. Die daaglikse spandering is dan die gemiddelde spandering wat toeriste doen op 'n daaglikse basis. Die gemiddelde verblyf is die hoeveelheid nagte wat 'n toerist bly in wat toeriste gemiddeld bly in 'n sekere land. Okay, grade 12s. Then they can give you statistics, as I previously said, in terms of a graph or a table or anything like that. So the first aspect that we're going to look at is the foreign arrivals in South Africa. If it's either by land or by air travel. So it can be either land or air travel with regards to the travel market. So they can give you typically a graph like this, and this then indicates how the arrival statistics can determine the foreign market share. So what I quickly want you to do is I want to see if you can interpret this table correctly. So in the question box, if you can just quickly type there for me, what was the amount or what was the total arrivals for the year 2007? I want to know how many people arrived in South Africa according to this table in 2007. Let's quickly see if you understand what this or how to interpret this table. Okay, I see one or two correct answers. Okay. Okay. So let's quickly have a look. Okay, so first of all, they asked us for the year 2007. If we go up with this bar graph, we see it's 9.1. But that is not our final answer. We must see in which amount they have given us, and they've given it in millions. In other words, the total arrivals for the year 2007 will be 9.1 million people. Okay, if you only wrote 9.1, you will not receive a mark. You must indicate that it is in millions. Okay, so congratulations to those who had it correctly. Okay, so graad 12, so hulle kan vir julle so 'n grafiek gee. Hierdie is dan met ander woorde 'n grafiek wat bepaal of wat aandui hoeveel mense in Suid-Afrika gearriveer het. Ons het gekyk spesifiek na 2007 en in 2007 was daar 9.1 miljoen mense. Dit is baie belangrik om te weet die hoeveelheid waarna jy dit moet gee. Miljoen mense wat dan in Suid-Afrika gearriveer het. Of dit nou met land of met lugvervoer was. The next statistics that we're going to look at is the most visited provinces in South Africa. So although it is people that's coming into our country, they are also going to visit specific provinces. So let's quickly look at this information that they've given us over here. Okay, so they've only took KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng, Western Cape, and Limpopo as the 4 provinces that they looked at for 2011, 2012, and 2013. Okay, so in the question box, tell me if you look at 2011, 2012, and 2013, what province is the most visited province overall? So if you look at those 3 years, which province was the most visited province on average for those 3 years? The most visited province. Let's quickly see if you get that right. See some 2 answers correct already. Let's see if 1 or 2 of you also get it. Okay, perfect. So if you look at those 3 years, you will see that KwaZulu-Natal was the most, on average for the 3 years, was the most visited province in South Africa. So those who've answered KwaZulu-Natal, that's correct. Goed, so ons kyk na die mees besoekte provinsies in Suid-Afrika. So alhoewel internasionale toeriste in ons land inkom, gaan hulle ook na sekere provinsies toe in ons land. As ons kyk na 2011, 2012, 2013, hulle het spesifiek gekyk na 4 provinsies wat KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng, die Wes-Kaap en Limpopo was. As jy na daai 3 jare kyk, was KwaZulu-Natal die mees besoekste provinsie in Suid-Afrika gemiddeld. Maar as ons kyk na 'n spesifieke jaar, sou dit dalk verskil het. Goed. So they can either ask you to look at a specific year, or they can ask you to draw conclusions with regards to all 3 years on average. So it will just depend on the type of question that they will ask you. Let's do one more example. Let's say for 2013, what was the least visited province in South Africa if you specifically look at the year 2013? What was the least visited province? Let's quickly see if you get this right. Yes, I see 1 or 2 correct answers already. Perfect. So the least visited province for 2013 was the Western Cape with 13%. Well done. Okay, the next aspect that we're going to look at is the length of stay in each province of South Africa. That also tells us something about the province and where we can improve in terms of length of stay. They've given us this table with this specific average length of stay. Let's quickly see, tell me what was the least, the province with the least average length of stay. Let's quickly see if we get this right. So which province had the least average length of stay? Yes, yes, I see correct answers coming through. Okay, so if we look at this information that they've given us, the province with the least amount or the least average length of stay was the Northwest province with 2.3 nights. It's important to include that as well. So quickly tell me, what is the average length of stay for the Eastern Cape? For the Eastern Cape, what is the average length of stay? It's important to include what with your answer. Yes, that's it. So it was 9.2 nights. Okay, so I see somebody is asking, what do you mean by duration of stay? That means the amount of nights that people stay actually in the province. So that is then that is what is meant by duration. So if we look at the Eastern Cape specifically, on average, people stay 9.2 nights. Obviously, it's not possible to stay a 0.2 night, but that is then just the average. So you would say that they stay more or less 9 nights in the Eastern Cape. Okay, so that is what is meant by duration, the amount of nights that they stay in a specific province. The duration of stay will then be the amount of nights that they stay in a specific province. The next aspect that we're going to look at is the average spending per tourist. So what do tourists actually spend their money on when they visit our country? Okay, so let's quickly see. What do locals spend their money on when traveling? For the year 2005, quickly tell me what did tourists spend 10% of their money on? For the year 2005, what did tourists spend 10% of their money on? Let's quickly see if you get that correct. For the year 2005, what did they spend 10% of their money on? Yes, okay, I can see that you can interpret data very well. So the answer is then tourism connected products. You can see here 10% of the average spending per tourist they've spent on tourism connected products. So 'n ander voorbeeld of 'n ander data waarna hulle kan kyk is om vir jou te vra gemiddeld, waarop spandeer toeriste gemiddeld hulle geld op? En ons het spesifiek gekyk nou na die 10% vir 2005 was daar 10% spandeer op toerisme verwante produkte. Goed. The next aspect that we're going to look at is activities undertaken while tourists are in South Africa. So die aktiwiteite wat hulle onderneem terwyl toeriste in Suid-Afrika is. Kom ons kyk watter aktiwiteite spandeer toeriste hulle geld of hulle tyd mee. Sê gou vinnig vir my, let's quickly have a look. If we look at for which year did people or the tourists, if we look at theme parks, what year was the highest in terms of theme parks being visited as part of activities? What year did they go to theme parks mostly. Perfect. Okay. So if we look at theme parks, they've indicated to us the colors above. So green was 2010, blue 2011, and then that maroon red type of color is 2012. So if we look at theme parks, in 2011, it was the highest or the popular activity to do. In terms of, let's quickly have a look at, in terms of nightlife, which year was the least, that they least do or go undertake nightlife as part of an activity? So what year was the least? %. Once again, if we look at nightlife, the least or the year that the nightlife was the least popular in terms of activity was in 2012. Perfect. I'm very impressed that you guys can interpret the statistics so well. So grade 12s, once again, a lot of information that we've covered today. And then, as I already said, they can give you this in terms of a question in a test or an examination. Any of the above graphs can be presented to you in a test and examination, and you need to interpret it. I've given you an example over here that you can also go and look at together with some questions. So go and have a look at it. Go and see if you can answer all of these questions in order to interpret certain statistics and information given to you. So graad 12, ons het nou weer eens deur 'n paar inligting gegaan waardeur jy kan gaan. In 'n toets of 'n eksamen kan enige van die vorige voorbeelde ook vir julle gevra word. Ek het vir julle 'n voorbeeld hier uitgehaal uit 'n toets uit wat julle kan deurgaan. So gaan deur die vrae, kyk of julle die vrae kan beantwoord in terme van die inligting wat daar vir julle gegee word en die manier hoe die inligting gegee word en kyk of julle hierdie vrae kan beantwoord. Goed. So if there's any other questions, you can put it for me in the question box, then I can answer it for you afterwards. But I think I have answered most of your questions in the question box. Thank you for participating today, and I am very glad to see that you are all able to interpret the specific statistics that are given to you. So go work out previous examinations or tests to see that you can actually interpret all of these questions. So then if you're not registered with Impact, you are more than welcome to contact us at info@impact.co.za. So as jy nie geregistreerd is by Impact nie, kan jy vir ons 'n e-pos stuur na info@impact.co.za toe. And thank you, grade 12s, for attending the session this afternoon. I hope that it helps you with your learning and with your studying. So please keep safe, keep well, keep warm in this time. I see that there is snow that might be expected in Gauteng. So please, if anybody of you are in Gauteng and you do receive some snow, please send us some pictures and post it on our Facebook page so that we can see who actually receives snow in Gauteng. They said that that is very much a possibility that we in Gauteng can receive snow. So asseblief graad 12, hou asseblief julleself veilig en warm. Ek het gesien daar is mense wat sê dat ons in Gauteng dalk sneeu kan verwag of kan ontvang. So as enige iemand van julle sneeu sien of ontvang, asseblief neem 'n foto en deel dit met ons op ons toerisme Facebookblad. Ek sal graag wil sien as daar enige van julle is wat sneeu kry in die Gauteng area. So, but for the rest of you, thank you for joining. Keep well, keep safe. Vir die res van julle asseblief bly warm, bly veilig. I will then see you then again in 2 weeks' time. Please note that it will be a longer session. There's a lot of information that we need to cover for the next topic. See you then in 2 weeks' time, and have a great afternoon. Goodbye.